Hi, I'm Mr. James, and today we're going to be doing day 7 of the Teen Driver's Ed Distant Learning course by all ages. So let's get started. Alright, so today we're going to talk about pre and post drive procedures. Alright, so anytime you're going to get out there and drive, you got to be ready before you even get in the car. So let's talk about some of those things that you need to get ready for. So in this chapter, you'll learn the following: pre-drive safety inspection, the proper approach to the vehicle, as well as adjustments necessary when preparing to drive the vehicle, and starting the vehicle as well as securing the vehicle. Okay, so you have blind zones all around your car. So anytime you get out of your house and you walk towards your car, you have to understand that if you were to just get into your car without doing a walk around, there's a huge blind spot. So if you look in this little picture right here, you see this huge blind spot. Notice that it's less of a blind spot near your driver's side door, but it's a lot towards the front, even more so in the back, and a lot on the passenger side. So these are areas in which you cannot see the ground. You cannot see what may be there if you just simply getting into your car from getting out of a Walmart, getting out of your house. So it's very important that we do a pre-drive walk around, and it's good to know what your blind spots are for what's around your vehicle when getting into your car. So your vehicle has a blind zone that wraps around the entire vehicle that makes it impossible to see anything that may be within 2 feet, if not more, of your car. A pre-drive walk around of your car is a must to avoid conflict and accidents that may occur as you pull out of your parking space. All right. So pre-drive walk around your vehicle. All right. So prior to getting to your vehicle, you want to do a pre-drive walk around your car to make sure there are no hazards or damage to your vehicle prior to getting in and leaving your parking space. And here are just some of the examples of what you might see when you do your walk around your vehicle that could actually put damage to your car, harm an animal. So how to approach your vehicle when parked on the street. All right, so when approaching your vehicle from a sidewalk, you want to approach your vehicle from back, walking along the sidewalk towards the front of your car, and then around the hood as you get into the street to face oncoming traffic going towards your driver's side door. This allows you to keep yourself safe from potential hazards that may affect your ability to safely open your door and get in your vehicle when parked on the road. So you're going to be walking down the street from the back end of your car. You're going to walk in front of your hood, and then, as you can see approaching vehicles, you're able to safely open up your car, and you basically done a walk around because you could see the back end of your vehicle. You walk to the passenger side, you walked all the way to the front, there's nothing in the front of your car, and now with oncoming traffic, you can see when it's safe for you to open up your door to get into your vehicle to leave a park space when parked on the street. So what to look for when we do our walk around. All right, when doing a walk around, you want to check for the following. You want to make sure there's not a sleeping cat behind the wheel of a car or behind a tire. I've seen that many times when I was a kid growing up, living in a neighborhood. There was always a cat that always liked to get underneath the shade during the summertime, and being up against a cool tire was one of the places that cats kind of like to sleep. And then at nighttime, when it got a little cooler, the cat would snuggle up on a tire because it may be warmer, right? So you got to be very careful. You want to make sure you don't want to run over anybody's cat or even your cat. All right, so you also want to check for fluids or leaks on the ground. All right, so we're looking for brown, black, or red or green. You want to look for kids' toys and bikes. You want to look for any sharp items that may cause damage to your tires, such as nails, glass, etc. You want to see if you have a flat or if you have low air pressure in your tires. And you also want to make sure that you don't have damage to your vehicle, right? Because if you're parked at Walmart, there's been plenty of times where I've seen somebody back out and then hit somebody's taillight or hit their bumper or scrape up against their car, and then they just leave and take off. Right? So by looking for damage to your vehicle before you drive away, make sure that if it was damaged, you can make a report there so you can file it with your insurance company. Or if it was at a place where there is surveillance cameras, you can get in touch with the business owner and see who actually hit your car, so that way you can get damages for it. All right, so identifying fluids. As you can see here, we've seen this plenty of times in parking lots where you see a lot of brown dots on the parking space where a car has been parked before many times. It may be in your own driveway. You may have a brown spot that kind of builds up underneath your vehicle. If you ever really want to make sure what type of fluid may be leaking from your car, one of the great ways to check is by basically taking a cardboard box that maybe if you have an Amazon drop-off or something, taking that cardboard box, slipping it underneath the hood of your car, right where the engine lays, and then leaving it overnight, and then in the morning pulling that cardboard box out and then taking a look to see if there's any marks on it. That can tell you for sure if there's any leaks and it's not some other vehicle parking in that space, and it can give you a better idea what type of leak may be there. Right, so let's go ahead and take a look real quick. If you see a liquid on the ground coming from underneath the vehicle, make sure to identify the type of fluid that may be leaking. All right, if you see a clear fluid, like water, if the fluid is clear and you drove recently, it could be condensation from your vehicle's AC system. A lot of times if you run into a gas station, you come back out, you see a nice big puddle of water underneath your vehicle coming out near your driver's side door. That's more than likely water from condensation from your AC system. If it's brown or black, if the liquid is brown or black, it may be a sign that there is an oil leak. Have it corrected by a mechanic. If it's red, it can be a sign that it's a transmission fluid or power steering fluid. If it's green, it could be an indication that there may be a leak in your radiator. Okay, so anytime you see brown, black, red, or green, you definitely want to get that checked out right away because you don't want anything breaking down while you're driving. Okay, another thing we're looking out for is our tires. All right, so if we come out and we notice our tire is underinflated, it means it needs air, and that may be a sign that there may be a possible slow leak in your tire. Overinflated, okay, if it's overinflated, this could be because it's summertime, and the difference between the heat of the afternoon and the cool of the evening, you could definitely see a difference with overinflation because during the heat of the day, the air molecules in the tire tend to separate from each other. They expand, creating more pressure. And then, of course, at nighttime, they tend to get closer together when it's cool and you see underinflation. So you may see underinflation in the morning and overinflation in the evening, but during the day, it could even itself out as the temperature of the tire starts to change. But the best way to check is basically getting yourself a tire pressure gauge and looking at the actual PSI, all right? So the PSI will give you a good indication of whether or not it's in the right place it needs to be. All right, over here you see another example of overinflation, underinflation, wheel alignment, wheel balancing. All right, so if during your pre-drive you see that your tire may be low, you can check the pressure. Prior to checking pressure, look up your car's recommended winter-summer air pressure recommendation in the owner's manual or in the inside panel of the driver's side door. All right, tire tread. All right, this is another important thing. So if you're ever going to go get your car inspected, one of the things they inspect is the tire tread. But if you drive your vehicle a lot, you want to keep an eye on your tire tread simply because of the fact that the only thing between you and the ground are those 4 tires. If your 4 tires are in perfect healthy condition, you're going to have great performance on the road. You're less likely to get into an accident. You'll be able to stop better. You'll be able to accelerate better. You'll have better handling of your car. But if your tire tread is starting to lose its integrity, things like rainy weather, leaves on the road, you're not going to have very good grip with the road. Handling and steering is going to be more difficult. Stopping is going to be prolonged. A lot of things can go wrong. So this right here is what they call the penny test. Okay, you just simply take a penny and turn it upside down, stick it into the groove of the tread. All right, and here, if you could see the top of Abe Lincoln's head, then that means your tire needs to be replaced immediately. If you can see up to his eyebrow, okay, if you could see a little bit past his eyebrow, then that means your tires are considered to being ready to be replaced. That means you gotta go ahead and start thinking about buying yourself some new tires. Okay, so here's a tire aging, replaced every 6 years is recommended. You also want to rotate your tires every 6,000 miles from the front to back, left to right, because you have to understand we take more right turns than we do left turns, and so the wear on the outside of that right tire is gonna degrade a lot faster than the left side, simply the fact that you take more right turns. So by having your wheels rotated from front to back, left to right, it allows you to have more life on the tire because it's not going to wear as quickly. Now, if you never rotate your tires, that 6-year replacement is going to turn into a 3-year replacement. So you definitely want to rotate every 6,000 miles, all right? Which is about every 6 months is when you want to rotate your tires. So when you go get your oil change, might as well go ahead and have your tires rotated too. All right, so car maintenance checklist. All right, so these are things that you want to check monthly: oil level, hoses, belts. Now we look at hoses and belts, we're looking for cracks. We're looking for anything that might actually that will give us an indication about the integrity of that hose or belt. If we see a crack in it, then we know that it may be time to replace that belt or hose, because if it were to break while you're driving, a hose will create a leak. A belt will create, basically your engine won't be allowing you to actually have acceleration with your tires. So you definitely want to make sure that these are looked at frequently, at least once a month. You want to check your tire pressure. I personally check my tire pressure every time I get gas. I get gas once every 2 weeks, and so every 2 weeks I check my tire pressure, make sure it's in good order, and trust me, I definitely feel a huge difference in the handling of my vehicle when I have perfect tire pressure compared to when I don't. All right, so coolant and antifreeze is very important. Air filters, all right. Tires, in terms of tread damage, you want to look at the side of your tires to see how that tread is coming out. It can give you a good idea of whether or not you need to rotate them soon. Every 3 months, you want to look at your filter, change your oil, windshield fluid, battery steering fluid, brake fluid, transmission fluid, battery cables. These are things that we check to make sure that they're at the proper level. Okay, and then things that you want to check every 6 months: wiper blades, headlight, brake lights, horns, brakes, spare tires, exhaust system, shock absorbers. It's always a good idea to make sure that your spare tire in your trunk is looked at properly, because if you just leave it in there and it's been 3-4 years since you touched it and you get that flat tire, I'll tell you right now, that spare ain't going to do a thing for you. You got to make sure that you keep it up with the air pressure as well when you do your check your tire pressures, but at least once every 6 months. All right, so you want to check for non-secured objects inside your vehicle. When you get in your car, you want to inspect for any non-secured items that are bulky and can pose a potential hazard. Objects that hang from your rear view mirror, items that are bulky and have edges and corners, can be dangerous involved in an accident. Items that are not secured when involved in an accident can injure or kill an individual if not properly secured. You also want to address objects that may block vision, such as boxes in the back seat that block your view at the rear view mirror. So all these things are very important. You want to make sure you don't have loose, bulky items. You don't want to have anything blocking your vision. All right, so hanging things off your rear view mirror, though it may look cool, you are actually hurting your ability to drive safely. So go ahead and stand with the side of caution and being safe, and just forego those little objects you like to hang on the rear view mirror. And then also you have to understand, if you do get involved in an accident, those things that you hang on your mirror can be an object that can harm you and injure you, or a passenger inside your vehicle. Okay. Driver readiness tasks. All right, so this is what we do when we first get into the car. Okay, we want to close and lock all doors. This protects all passengers from intruders. You don't want to be a victim of a carjacking. We want to insert key in the ignition. We want to secure loose objects. We want to adjust the seat position. We want to adjust our head restraint, adjust mirrors. We want to turn on climate control for good ventilation. We want to fasten our seat belts, and we want to do the drive mate compartment readiness test. And what that means is we want to look at our gauges. Do I need gas? Is the maintenance light on? Is there anything about my gauges that tell me that there's something I need to address with my vehicle? Okay, so seats and mirrors video. All right, so in this video we're going to actually look at how to adjust our seat properly and how to adjust our mirrors properly. So let's pay attention.
First thing you should do after getting in the car is to put the key in the ignition, if your car uses a key, so that you don't misplace it and that you have both hands free to adjust the other stuff. Just a note, make sure you adjust your seat before you adjust your mirrors. If you adjust the mirrors while the seat is not well adjusted, when you readjust the seat after, your angle won't be good anymore. In some cars, the lever to adjust the seat forwards or backwards covers the entire length of the seat. In some other vehicles, it'll be on one side or the other. Pull up on the lever and slide to the front or back to adjust the seat so that you're in a comfortable position. Then release the lever to lock it in place. Your arms and legs should be slightly angled. You can also adjust the angle of the seat back. The lever for that is usually at the crossing of the seat back and the seat, with the lever to adjust the seat height in front. But sometimes it might be the opposite, like in this case. Pull it up and lean forward or back to adjust the angle. Adjust it so that it is a bit angled to the back. Try not to adjust it so that it's too straight, because you'll tend to rest your head on the headrest too much. You should leave a bit of distance between your head and the headrest since you'll have to move your head often while driving. A good rule of thumb is to keep more or less the width of your fist between your head and the headrest. As for the headrest height, the top of the headrest should be aligned at least with the top of your head and not lower. You can also adjust the height of your seat in some vehicles. You guessed it, lift up to raise the seat, push down to lower it. And of course, all these adjustments may be electric on some vehicles. Now here's a mistake some students do and that can be dangerous, especially for shorter people. They adjust their seat before going, but then they're not comfortable. So when waiting at a red light, they pull the lever and the seat jerks back. What happens then is that they can't reach the brake pedal anymore. And you know that with an automatic transmission vehicle, if you don't keep the brake pedal pressed while on the drive position, the car will move slowly. You can see where this is going, right? So in that case, wait a bit, stop by the side of the road in a safe place, and adjust the seat then. A lot of people think that this little lever is to adjust the mirror. It's not. It's for when somebody is following you with their high beams on, they'll blind you through the mirror. So you flip this lever and you will still see behind, but you won't be blinded anymore. To adjust the mirror, you grab it by the plastic around it. Avoid putting your fingers directly on it, as you should with any mirrors or glass. You'll get it dirty with grease. Try to adjust the central mirror so that you see as much as possible from the rear window. As for the side mirrors, they can either be electric or manual. On electric ones, you'll usually have the buttons to adjust them either next to the steering wheel, like here, where this button selects which mirror you want to adjust, and this one adjusts it. It can also be on the door. You select which mirror you want to adjust by sliding the button left or right, and you adjust it with this button. It can also be next to the mirror, like here. Note that in this case, there's an off position to the button right in the middle. So if you're moving the button and nothing's happening, it's probably in the off position. You move the button like a joystick to adjust the mirror. All these buttons might also be in other places, depending on the vehicle, so check your manual for that. If the adjustment is manual, the lever will be right next to the mirror. Adjust the side mirrors so that you see just a bit of the back of your car. While that is not absolutely necessary, it can give you a reference point to figure out your distance from other vehicles. That's especially useful when parking at 90 degrees backing up. A mistake students do often when adjusting the side mirrors is that they lean their body forward while adjusting them. The thing is, when you get back to your normal driving position, the angle won't be the same. So try to always adjust the mirrors with your body in the same position you'll have when driving. If you have a manual adjustment, you'll have to lean forward to adjust the mirror on the opposite side. So adjust it, get back to your driving position, recheck it, and repeat those steps if necessary. I hope you liked this video. Be safe, and thanks for watching.
Alright, so occupant protection. Okay, so anytime you buy a vehicle and you're going to drive a car, there's going to be times where you're going to have passengers that you want to make sure that they're secure and protected, as well as yourself. So when we talk about occupant protection, we're talking about safety belts, airbags, car seats, head restraints, and technology, right? So newer cars today have a lot of technology in them that help protect you while you're driving, such as anti-lock brake system, electronic stability control, traction control, radar, and of course, backup cameras. So we're going to focus on car seats, all right? Because we briefly already been over seat belts and head restraints. So let's talk about car seats for kids, okay? So child safety seats, all right? So rear-facing safety seat, all right? Forward-facing safety seat, booster seat. Safety seat should be properly installed in the back seat. Never place a child infant in the front seat. All children who are under 8 years old and less than 57 inches, that means 4 feet 9 inches tall, are required by law to be in a child safety seat in the state of Texas. Okay, so we're going to talk about the importance of child safety seats in this video real quick, so pay attention.
Over the past weeks, we've seen more and more about the importance of car seat safety, from when to turn your child's car seat around to how old they need to be before moving them off the car seat in general and moving them into something like a booster seat. Joining me now is Holly Black with Consumer Science to give some insight into how to make it a safe ride. So car seat safety, these right here are booster seats. Explain these.
Yes. Okay. So state law says a child has to be in a child safety seat restraint until the child's 8 years old or 4 foot 9. So we're looking at most kids being 8 before they can get out of seats. A lot of times that older age, from 4 to 8 years old, there's a there's a gap there that they're not sitting in seats, and we see a lot of misuse. Vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death for children under 14 years old. So the proper use of a booster seat in particular, or a child restraint, can help reduce that.
And so what is the difference between this car seat and this booster seat that you have?
Okay, so I brought two different versions. They're both booster seats. This one, it just has the back on it. This one has added protection for your head, neck, and spine for the child in a collision. So anywhere from once a child gets 4 years old and 40 pounds, then they would be where they can sit in the seat. We want them to keep in the seat until they're a little bit older, until maybe 7 or so, before they graduate to a backless booster seat.
A backless booster seat, okay.
The purpose of the booster seat is to boost the child up in the vehicle seat in the car, because the seat belts are made to fit adults, and they do that well. But when a child graduates out of a seat, the vehicle seat belt won't fit the child correctly.
And a lot of people may look at it too in terms of, all right, I have a child who may be reaching the age limit but is not the weight limit. What should they focus on best?
Right, and just because if they reach 8 years old and they think, well, law says I can graduate out of the seat, the vehicle seatbelt may not sit completely correctly how it should be. To know that, there's a couple of tips to go by. When the child sits in the seat, you want their knees to come over the very edge of the car seat. You want the seat belt to come across the shoulder strap, to come straight across the middle of their chest, because sometimes if it cuts into their face, they'll flip it behind them or under their arm.
Right.
And then they can have additional problems if you are in a crash and that seat belt, the shoulder strap's not properly in place.
And in terms of installation, parents reading the manual, how important is that to make sure that they install it correctly?
It's really important. 1 out of 4 car seats are incorrectly installed. So, and not at the fault of the parents, because the parents try and they want the best for their child, of course. But there's lots that go into the different car seats and the different vehicles and how all that meshes together. So, so there's some options for that. If a parent maybe has some questions on how to install the seat, they can notify a child safety seat technician in their area, and you can find those online and within your county, and then you can get your seat checked to know if it's properly installed.
All right, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Up next, we could be in.
All right, so
Over the past.
Day 7 assignments. All right, so this is our textbook right here, and I went ahead and scanned the entire textbook so you have access to it on our website. And what I need you to do is read chapters 7 and 8 in your textbook. Also, you need to complete exercise A for chapter 7 and 8 in your workbook, and you could also find this on our resource page, and also provide a link next to the video. And go ahead and email your assignment to mrjamesdriversed@gmail.com. All right, so I hope you found this informative, and I'll see you tomorrow.